Hello, my name is Eric. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome. If you've seen my videos before, welcome back. Um, Today, I'm going to touch on depression. So I want to reintroduce myself. Hi, my name is Eric, and I deal with depression. I've dealt with depression probably since 11th grade. I'm now 53 years old. I'll be 54 this year. I think I first realized I was depressed in the 11th grade. And I remember having a conversation with my mother. And I don't know quite how the conversation went, but I must have told her at some point I was I didn't tell her me personally, but I mentioned depression and suicide. And my mother said to me, if somebody says they want to kill themselves, I give them the gun. Now, I want to sidebar and say, people aren't the sum of people should not be determined in moments, whether it's in words, whether it's in actions. And again, this comes with this whole cancel culture. Um, so people would hear that and think, "Oh, your mother's such a bad mother." Or this, I was like, "No, you can't do that just based off of one interaction, if you will. That's just in general. It's not just about my mom." But to kind of put this in perspective, I wrote this down. Depression, so that we can have a working understanding. Depression is a mental health condition that involves a long period of feeling sad or hopeless and a loss of interest in activities. So, using that as a working definition, um, I've been depressed or I've dealt with depression for years. Today is actually a very, very good day. It's actually been a very good season for me. Um, I think about the times that I've been so depressed. I've actually attempted suicide, um, like 6 different times. Thankfully, I was unsuccessful. And I've heard people talk about how, especially I was not born in church, but at some point in our lives, we started attending church. And I would hear people say things like, you know, it's suicide is so selfish, and if you kill yourself, you go into hell and stuff like this. And one thing, if I've learned nothing else, one thing I learned about depression and suicide, one of the worst things you can do is to tell somebody they're wrong or to damn them to hell when they're already probably in a state of the most vulnerable they've ever been. Um, and something else I would say, going from depression to suicide, because they sometimes they go together, sometimes they don't. Thankfully, because there are different types of depression. But something I speak for myself and for people who I know who have also attempted suicide is that it's not necessarily that we want to die. It's just that we want that pain of that situation or whatever that feeling is to end. And in those moments, it just does not seem like there is no other way. Sometimes people just want to go to sleep and never and not never wake up again. They want to go to sleep, and for whatever they're going through, they want that feeling to stop. And so in times, and again, everybody's level of depression is different. So everyone's suicide attempt is different. And I can even speak for myself. Each time that depression has seeped up on me, it has been different every single time. So if it's different in different people, go a step further and imagine how different it is when it's different even within yourself. Um, I just wanted to touch on that. There are different types of depression. I had to write things down, so forgive me for looking down every now and then. But there's the 3 types of depression are major depressive disorder, which is considered clinical depression. There's persistent depressive disorder, which is less severe than major depressive disorder, but will last much longer because it persists, so it stays there. So sometimes, and I'll say, oh, let me get to the last one. And there's the other one, seasonal affect disorder, which happens sometimes around the holidays. The loss of loved ones, and sometimes the loss of jobs, the loss of just joy when the rest of the world seems to be moving at a, we're so happy, we're so joyous, it's the holiday season. And it's also the shortness in the time in those places where they switch from daylight savings to whatever the regular non-daylight savings time is, having shorter periods of light, natural light, that is. And there is something called light therapy for moments like that. But there are different kinds of depression that we need to be aware of. And it's so important to just be kind to people, just be nice, just for the sake of being nice. And sometimes, there are a lot of people, especially now with this advent of social media, people who smile and look good and their social media looks amazing and they look happy. And there's so many people walking around with mental disorders, whether it's clinical, whether it's seasonal, whether it's depression, whether it's just sadness. And sadness is not the same as depression. Sadness comes and goes. Depression kind of lingers. So sometimes people will say, oh, snap out of it. Oh, you get through this. There is, sometimes if you don't know what to say, it's best just not to say anything at all, especially if you've never been depressed. Again, sadness and depression are different, and they should be treated and handled differently. They should be handled and treated differently because they're different things, but also with different people, because we all adjust or act or react differently to different stimuli. So it's very important to just kind of be kind and gentle. And again, if you have nothing to say, don't say anything at all. I will mention that I'm going to give you like 6 coping skills when dealing with depression. One is just stay in touch. Now, I'm going to go a step further, not just stay in touch. Stay in touch with the people who actually feed your soul in a positive way, who care about you, who are non-judgmental, who aren't always trying to offer advice. For those people who are just there, that their presence matters to you. Those are the people that you need to stay in touch with. Number 2 is be more active. And sometimes when you're depressed, not just that, when you're depressed, and again, there are levels to depression, it's hard to even get out of bed, let alone be more active. It seems like a lot of times, and again, everybody's depression is different. Sometimes you want to be less active. You just want to pull the covers up and just not interact. But what I found in my own depression is that feeds my depression, that feeds my sadness, that feeds my loneliness. So get up and do something, even if it's just taking a walk around your house. If you have a house, walk around your apartment complex, whatever it is, just get out and walk. Put on whatever it is that calms you. If it's a walk, if it's a run, if it's music. A lot of people love music. I'm not musically inclined at all, but I love music. Put on your favorite playlist, create a playlist. Even creating a playlist it'll keep your mind off of, because you're focused on something else. It'll take your mind away from the sadness or the depression that you're feeling. But get a good playlist. And now with these different music programs, you put in a person's name and it'll start playing. The algorithm will start moving it for you. But get out and be more active. Do a walk. If you do some jumping jacks, do an exercise. And this is not to negate whatever you're going through. It's just that encouragement to kind of get up and get out and do something to keep those depressive thoughts and feelings at bay. The third thing it says is to face your fears. Because again, depression is different. I have to keep saying that. Depression comes in different forms. And sometimes that fear of whatever it is, whether it's trying something new, whether it's succeeding, whether it's being rejected, Learn how to face it. And that's easier said than done, especially if you've never been taught. So I would say stand up to that thing. And you can start by looking yourself in the mirror and just affirming yourself. And it may seem weird at first. The feeling may not be there. But stand there enough times and look yourself in the mirror. Look yourself in the eye and say, I am whatever. Use I am statements and affirm yourself and talk yourself out of it. Again, if you love music, again, I can't sing, but I'll sing a song in a minute. Do those things that bring you joy, that make you feel like you're back in the game. Remind yourself, and every single person, I have not met every single person, but I feel every single person has something that they feel good about within themselves that they should be proud of. And if you don't feel it, sometimes you have to think about what it is. And it's not always about looks. And sometimes the personality, some of the things you do, the way you love, the way you speak, the kindness that you exude is so important. Number 4, it says, don't drink too much alcohol. Because, again, alcohol affects people differently. And sometimes alcohol has that effect where it does bring you down and make you sad. So it says, don't drink too much alcohol. I said what I need to say on that. But number 5, it says, try to eat a healthy diet. And again, I'm 53. Food is different now than it was when I was growing up. There are a lot of unnecessary additives, preservatives, and sugars in food. And sometimes we think we're eating healthy based off the labels, and we're really not. And some things actually, some of the foods, the chemicals that are in foods go into our body, and they start to have these different, they cause these different reactions. So sometimes your sadness or your depression or your mood swings may be a part of what you're feeding yourself: lack of exercise, lack of water, lack of flushing your body out. Number 6, it says, have a routine. And I think, again, everybody's depression is different. Everybody's movements are different. The way they navigate life is different. But having a routine, making sure you do these things over and over, will kind of get you in the mindset of, for this moment while I'm dealing with depression, it'll have my mind will be focused on something else where I can go ahead and put these thoughts, these negative thoughts at bay, because I have something I need to do. I want to get this job done. I want to do this. I want to do that. Again, I go back to everybody's depression is different. Every person is different. So what we feel as depression, and again, not to be confused with sadness, but what we feel as depression is different. And I just want to run off some of the symptoms of depression, from sadness to tearfulness to emptiness, feeling hopeless. Sometimes people have angry outbursts or irritability or loss of interest in most of their normal activities. And they can't quite put a finger on it. And I'll say some of it could be depression seeping in. And mental health is a real thing. It's been a real thing for a long time. We didn't always have the language for it. But now we understand it a whole lot better. And I want to say therapy works. Therapy absolutely works. And I want to add to the therapy piece. When looking for a therapist, and you can Google a therapist, and a lot of therapy is free nowadays or at a very, very low cost. Be specific about the type of therapist you want. When you type in Google, when I look for my therapist, I put in black, gay, male. I wanted someone who could understand. Even if our stories are different, they have a better understanding. They have more compassion, more empathy with what I'm going through. They would give me better advice for what I was going through. So I had one of the best therapists, which I need to get back in contact with after the pandemic hit. Things shifted. That's another thing to think about, because depression comes on at different times in different ways. Some people get it, some people never get it. But the pandemic, the isolation, the wearing of masks have really taken a toll on a lot of people. A lot of people have bounced back from it, and a lot of people, again, there are different things, there are different mechanisms that happened within people, and some people are moving ahead with their lives, and some people are still stuck, and it's not good, bad, it's or either indifferent. It is just what it is. And there are a lot of resources you can Google for yourself. I want to go to the suicide prevention line. The number is 811. But I'm going to put 3 links in the description. One is for betterhelp.com. That's for dealing with depression. The mayoclinic.org has some resources for you, and also growtherapy.com. I want to say that your life matters. You matter. Your thoughts matter. The fact that you get up and that you wake up every day, you have purpose. You have a reason for being here. I want you to tap into that reason, and I want us to live a long, healthy, happy, stress-free life. I have, since my last bout of depression, I've worked really, really hard on not allowing it to come back. I've been so intentional about no longer being depressed. Whether it comes back or not, I'm not sure. I can't predict the future, but I'm working really, really hard. Even with what I'm going through right now, I'm realizing and recognizing that my life has meaning, my life has value, and so does yours. And I also, something I always tell people, and it's really, really true, you are more than enough. Everybody's not going to like you, everybody's not going to get you, everybody's not going to understand you, and that is okay. And sometimes you have to find your own tribe, and sometimes even within finding your own tribe, it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. And the good part about that is, and hear me out, there are times when we have to be by ourselves. We don't need any outside voices or any distractions. We have to really, really learn ourselves. And you know, a lot of people tell us you have to love yourself. I've learned to love myself, and I've even learned to like myself. And that's just as important as loving myself. Even through my depression and my suicide attempts, I've still loved myself. I may not have loved the feeling of the situations or the circumstances around me in those times, but I've learned to love me. And another thing that I often talk about, because people often ask me why I am the way that I am and the way that I see the world and view the world and operate in the world. There are a lot of things that I've seen growing up. In different people, in different situations, with friends, with family, with, church, school, all that other stuff. And I've seen the way people live and the way they act and react. And, you may not have, because life does not come with a blueprint, because all of us have individual lives. But one thing I can say is, if you want to do something different, you may not know what to do, but you have enough examples of what not to do. And something that has happened in my life, when I chose not to do what I saw was not working for other people, it opened doors for those things. It created space for those things that I needed in my life or that I wanted in my life. So that's that. If you like this content, please, and I'm going to do my best to be more active on this channel. I have a whole bunch of videos that on this channel that I've posted over the years, so you could actually see my progression. But now, today in 2025, I'm going to attempt to be more active on this YouTube channel. So if you like this kind of content, if you've lasted this long and you like this kind of content and you think it could help somebody else, please like, subscribe, share. If you want to get notifications, because again, I'm going to be trying my best to stay on this thing, because a lot of people need help, need guidance, need counseling, need to know that they're not alone in this world, because you are not alone in this world. Hit that notification button so that you'll be informed of when I post a new video, when I upload a new video. And as I start to get more familiar with this, I'll start bringing in, you know, the platforms and the signs and all of that stuff. But as for right now, it's just you and I. So hit the share button so we can grow this channel. Like, subscribe, and I'm going to catch you all tomorrow. So today's topic was depression and mental health, and each day it'll probably be a different topic based off of my very colorful life. So I love you guys on purpose. Remember, you are the prize, and you are more than enough. Take care until next time.